Hi everyone. Now we are going to discuss about food chain, right? So here, what is food chain? Food chain here, what is happening? The movement of energy from producers up to top carnivores is known as food chain. So we know already we discussed how the energy is transferring from one level to another. So the first one is the producers. We know that is the plants are the primary producers, then herbivores, carnivores, and here we are talking about the top carnivores. Okay, so how the energy is moving from the producers, that is from the plants to the top carnivores. Okay, so this movement we are calling as, this chain we are calling as food chain. Okay, so that is in any food chain, energy flows from producers to primary consumers, then from primary consumers to secondary consumers, and finally secondary consumers to tertiary consumers. That is from plants to herbivores, herbivores to omnivores, herbivores to carnivores, then omnivores. Okay, so here this we are calling as food chain. So now here there are two types of food chain. One is grazing food chain, another one is detritus food chain. Okay, so what is meant by grazing? Grazing means the food will be eaten by some organisms, right? So that will be in the form of chain. So that we are calling as grazing food chain. So detritus food chain, it is happening in the dead and decaying organisms. Once the organism is died, then what will happen? That will be decomposed by microbes, and from that the energy will be transferred. Okay, so there also it's happening. The energy flow is happening in the dead and decaying organisms. So that we are calling as detritus food chain. Okay, so now we will see this grazing food chain in detail. Okay, so first one, a grazing food chain. Here we know this is grazing. It's we are talking about the living organisms. In living organisms, how the energy is getting transferred. So what is the primary producers? We know very well plants are the primary producers. Yes. So now plants are preparing their own food. For the preparation, it needs sunlight. Okay, so without sunlight, there will be no energy formation. Okay, so main source of energy for grazing food chain is sun. So the plants are utilizing this sunlight by means of the chlorophyll pigment and other sources from the environment that we know, carbon dioxide and water, yes, and it preparing its own food. So that process we are calling as photosynthesis, right? So what is the primary source here? Here the main source of energy is nothing but the sun. If the sunlight is not there, the plant, they can't prepare their own food. Yes, so it begins with the first link, that is the producers, plants. Second link in the food chain is primary consumers. Okay, just check it in this diagram. You just see the grasses, they are trapping the sunlight with the presence of chlorophyll in it, and it converting the sunlight, it using the sunlight for the preparation of the food with the raw materials which is available in the environment, right? So now by means of photosynthesis, the plants are preparing their own food. So we are keeping these producers or the plants in the first level, right? So then these grasses will be eaten by mouse. So they are the primary consumers. Okay, so next who will eat this at first? So they are coming under primary consumers. Now this mouse will be eaten by snake. So that is the secondary consumers. Okay, so they are in the second place to consume. And the last one is the eagle. They are in the tertiary place. So that is, they are in the third place, and we are calling this one as tertiary consumers. You just see here, the plants are preparing the food. We need food for getting energy, right? So now the energy is transferred like a chain. Plants to mouse, mouse to snakes, and snake to eagle, right? So you just see all those things are living organisms. So then energy is transferred in a chain. Okay, so this we are calling as grazing food chain. Yes, yeah. And the next one is detritus food chain. So detritus means dead and decaying organisms. So the energy flow is happening from the dead and decaying organisms. Okay, so that is also happening in a cycle, I mean in a chain form. So we are calling this one as gratuitous food chain. Okay, this type of food chain begins with dead organic matter. So this part is very important. So dead organic matter, which is an important source of energy. Okay, so a large amount of organic matter is derived from dead plants, animals, and their excreta. You just see this. So now we just see here the detritus of the leaf. We know the trees will fall its leaves that will reach the soil. Okay, so with the help of the microbes. Okay, so this will be decomposed, and we know the farmer's friend, that is earthworm, right? So now these leaves will be decomposed by earthworm, right? So now this worm will be eaten by bird, and this bird will be eaten by hawk. Okay, so here the detritus, they are the sources, first source of energy, and that source of energy will be transferred to the detritivores, that is here the earthworm and small carnivorous, and then to the top carnivorous. Okay, so this will come under detritus food chain. So detritus food chain is nothing but the energy will be transferred from dead and decaying organism. Okay, so that is also happening in a chain form. So this will come under detritus food chain. Okay. Yes. And then next one is food web. So what is food web? So now we know what is food chain. Okay. So now this is happening in only one chain. So web, we know multiple chains will be there. Okay, you just see this diagram and you can easily understand. See now the plants are there that will be eaten by the rabbit. And one side the grasshoppers also will eat these grasses. Mouse also will eat it. In case if the rabbit is not there in that environment, okay, then what will happen? Other consumers are there to eat these plants. Right? So here interlocking pattern. What is meant by interlocking? So each and every, you just see here, here the plants, this plant will be eaten by rabbit and grasshopper and mouse. So interlocking, some integral part is there. Okay, so this we are calling as food web. So the interlocking pattern of a number of food chain. So you just see here, this side we have one food chain and another this side also. So plants are eaten by rabbit, rabbit are eaten by hawk, and here the plant is eaten by grasshopper, and that will be eaten by lizard, and that will be eaten by this hawk, and here the plants are eaten by mouse and snake, and like this it's happening. So you just see multiple food chains are interrelated, right? So this we are calling as food web. It making a web-like structure. So we are calling this one as food web. Okay. So example, in a grazing food chain of grassland, in the absence of rabbit, as I said earlier, here you just imagine no rabbit. Then what will happen? The mouse will eat this and the grasshopper will eat this. That will be eaten by next. Okay. So this is happening in a interlocking. Just see more pattern is there. Interlocking pattern of number of food chain. So this is making food web. Okay. Hope so this video is very clear for you. Yes. And what are the significance of food chain? What is the uses, benefits of this food web? So what will happen? Food web is constructed to describe species interaction called direct interaction. So here the direct interaction is also there. Okay. And here it can be used to illustrate indirect interactions among different species. So direct as well as indirect interactions will be there, and it can be used by study bottom up to top down control of community structures. So by means of this, so which one will be in the first place, which one will be in the last place. So like that we can easily analyze. And then it can be used to reveal different patterns of energy transfer in terrestrial and aquatic systems. So this thing is happening in terrestrial as well as in aquatic system. Okay, so that's all about significance of food web. Hope so you enjoy this video. We will meet you in next video. Thank you.